And welcome everybody to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is EJ, and I am riding solo today. Sorry about that earlier. I just want to get this out of the way. I was having internet issues, so that's why we're having a late start today. So here I am, riding solo. Here we go. Hopefully it works out well. If not, I'm recording this, so I'll have it on YouTube later. But of course, welcome everybody. We're going to be covering Super Showdown real quick. We're going to cover Raw, SmackDown, the top 5 events of Raw and SmackDown. And, of course, the power rankings are just myself this week. So hopefully everyone has fun. I see people in chat. Of course, we're live on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube under the name Go Home Wrestling Show. So let's go right into it real quick. Last week... we were talking about how, we're very excited for the upcoming event of the Super Showdown. And, of course, everyone's not a big fan of the Saudi show, especially, what's happened in the last year over there and how women aren't, allowed to perform over there. But overall, I wanted to see the show. I was going to see the show regardless. They had matches I was interested in, and there were diamonds in the rough. The WWE title match between Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston was really good. I thought it was a pretty solid match. The Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins match for the Universal title was pretty good. So, again, not the best of ending, though, in that Universal title match, but overall, you're going to get a rematch between them two. And I thought they did an incredible job. So, you can't take away from what they did back in last Friday. But the biggest criticism out of that show was the match between The Undertaker and Bill Goldberg. Now, we know they're both beyond 50 years old, but it was a nostalgia act, and that's what the Prince wanted. And if it's a paid show, if he wants it, you got to accommodate any way you can. And trust me, my standards weren't that high as far as, that match. However, it was something that we never thought we would ever see, and we got to see it. And I would say it was a pretty decent match. I wish it could have, it didn't make that turn. And the only reason it made that turn for the worse is because Bill Goldberg suffered a bad concussion in that match. The thing I would give Bill Goldberg for the utmost respect for what he did. Because for a man that was to be concussed that bad, in 100-degree weather, because you could see that they were very fatigued pretty quick. The fact that he powered through. He didn't just go, you know what, I'm concussed, something's wrong, I'm hurt, let's go home, let's end this. He went along with another, 6 minutes? And, the last minute and a half wasn't the greatest, but you know what, overall, I give them all the credit because they powered through it. Now, I think they will have a rematch. I don't think either one of these guys want this to be the last match they ever had and have this as a bad impression on their career. Sorry about that. I thought I had it muted. So I know that's not the last impression they have. And I think over time we're going to see that a rematch between the two. So overall, I thought Super Showdown was a decent card. Nothing compared to the Dominion out of New Japan, but overall, I was entertained. So, with that being said, let's go to Monday Night Raw review. It is time for number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5 is the 24/7 cast. And I'm going to call it that because it's a group of people that continuously, week in, week out, on SmackDown and Raw, continue to entertain me. Because this is what the title's all about. It's about entertainment, not so much with the wrestling. But you know what? I'm intrigued. I'm into it. I'm enjoying it. This segment, I gotta say, was the best segment out of them all. Between what Drake Maverick's been doing online, between the skits that they were doing in between when R-Truth would, drop the title and then, gain it back real quick. This is by far the most entertaining segment they've done. And it was throughout the course of the night, which was awesome. They broke it up. It was a 5-minute skit, 4 minutes if you count the commentary of what happened in the elevator. So I figured, why not play it real quick? And this is courtesy of WWE.com. I'm going to play a little bit of audio for you. And I'm going to give you my thoughts right after this. So here we go. Hopefully it picks it up pretty good. Oh, God. Of course. Yeah. I thought I had the ad blocker on. I do apologize. All right, here we go. Oh, you know what? Stupid me. Let me try it again. There we go.
Okay. It's gonna be alright.
So y'all shouldn't have been chasing me, man. You guys are stuck in this elevator now. You got it. You shouldn't have been chasing me. You just go. They're chasing me. Run. You know, guys, we're in here any longer. Oh, come on. I'm not. We got no food or water. Bro, you got a serious problem. See, I didn't notice that first, but you got a problem. We haven't got food, water, a cell phone. We haven't got anything. We don't have anything. I got a cell phone, dog. What? Come on. Give us a cell phone. Give us a cell phone. I don't have any bars. Oh, for God's sake. True. You're a rapper. You have no bars with all the music you have? I got change providers.
Hey, listen. We're gonna play a game, okay? No one's gonna eat anyone. We can only talk if you hold the hat, okay? You hold the hat, you can talk.
Okay, I want to talk. I gotta get out of here, guys. I'm getting married in a couple of weeks. I gotta get out of here, seriously.
Dude, you're getting married and you didn't invite me?
Dude, you're my best man.
Dude, be good with my hat. Careful.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Be nice.
Sorry.
You know what? I'm scared. I'm losing my 48-7 television European title. I'm scared of blonde hair. And I'm also scared of Hornswoggle.
I'm not Hornswoggle. I'm just a very small man. Man, I don't want to play the game no more. Use your head. I got kids. I don't want to stop.
Well, you should have been chasing me.
She doesn't even show up to the wedding, guys. I mean, come on, look. I'm the guy that peed his pants on national television.
You might be right.
Be nice.
You
Listen,
did do that. That was
she said
nasty.
yes when you proposed to her for a reason. She wants to marry you.
It's nice.
Be nice.
Oh, yeah, she's right. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm married.
It's scary, you know? It's so scary.
Hey man, marriage is scary for anyone.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%,
everybody's
it
scared.
is.
But true love is real, man. I've been married like 5 times now. It's the exact opposite of what. Okay.
Valentine's and you eating people.
Hey, man, just do it, say yes, and, you know, just wish for the best, man.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
It's all good. You know what? If y'all hadn't been chasing me around so much, y'all would see that we got a lot more in common than anything.
Yeah. We're both from Charlotte.
Ain't seen man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you
Like a white suit, dog. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
The white's for the bride, though.
Yeah. But it's my day too.
Listen.
Well, you're the.
It is.
You're gonna get married.
Hornswoggle, I'm just glad you feel it better.
I'm not
dog.
Hornswoggle.
You know what? We all a family. We all a family. We are family. Hey,
Hey, yeah.
That was serious.
Come on!
And I'll tell you right there, and I'm sorry for the long clip, but that was just pure gold. It does take me back to the days of the Attitude Era. Days where, you know, you took comedic skits like this and developed the talent. And hopefully a diamond in the rough comes out of it. And that's why I like this 24/7 champion thing, because maybe they could take one of these guys realize there is an entertainment value in them, and they can push them to the moon. Could it happen? We don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, but I definitely won't be surprised if you see someone like an EC3. In that skit alone, EC3 showed more enthusiasm than he has probably what, a long time. R-Truth knocking it out of the park like he always is. He's just a funny mofo. And Cedric Alexander, I mean, showed a little bit of a nice character there. And again, he hasn't been doing much since coming over to 205 Live, but I'm enjoying what he's doing with this 24/7. Of course, Carmella, one that keeps busting, getting R-Truth out of these bad jams, being a good friend. She's doing a great part. And like I said, him and Carmella are a great couple. They revitalized their careers in the last year with that mixed match challenge. And here they are. Look what they're doing week in and week out. Entertaining the hell out of us. Of course, you got Heath Slater that, had his little part in that, and he's doing pretty good. So the only thing that is cringy about this whole 24/7 thing is that you have someone like Matt Hardy getting involved. And the thing with that is someone as a legendary status as Matt Hardy, we could all admit, he's up there, is a part of this. And the one thing I would take that was a bad thing about this whole 24/7 was a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, Elias, of course, was pinned by R-Truth and not by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns at the end of that show didn't even try to pin Elias for the 24/7 title. They're devalued the title, but we know what it means. We know what this is for. This is for the talent that is not being used week in and week out. Here they are being put into a position where they are being highlighted. And I like it. I'm enjoying this. I can't wait to see what they do next. And this was by far the best skit. So that was my number 5.
Number 4.
Well, you had number 5. Well, let's go right into number 4. And that was the main event of the evening. Yes, number 4. Number 4 for the main event this week. Rollins versus Kevin Owens in a one-on-one battle with a little spicy element there with a special guest enforcer. Of course, the match was created in the beginning of the show. KO came out to defend Sami Zayn when they were going back and forth with Seth Rollins. And of course, Baron Corbin was out there. Sami Zayn later on that night went to Shane McMahon's office to ask him if he could be the special enforcer. Shane granted him the opportunity to do it. Sami Zayn frequently distracted both the referee John Cone and Seth Rollins to allow his best friend Kevin Owens to dominate throughout the match. But of course, at the end, this set off the architect who put his hands on Zayn. The outside referee called for the DQ to give KO the win. Now, it was a little weird of a match, but I did enjoy it. And the thing I did like about this whole thing to the build-up was Shane McMahon showing his ego once again. As Sami Zayn was throwing his idea that he should be the special enforcer, of course, Shane McMahon cuts him off and tells him that the same idea Sami Zayn had for him, he just took full credit for it, which speaks volumes as far as his, ego is concerned. Let me get the light on. So the one thing, my one takeaway from this is that no matter what, Rollins and Owens, they're two good workers and they put on a good match. And the reason it was so low in the top 5 is because it wasn't their greatest match, but it was still good. It wasn't a bomber. It was nothing like oh my god. But Rollins is getting a lot of criticism as of late, and I want to get my opinion about this. You see people on social media, and then of course Dave LaGreca on Busted Open Radio saying that Seth Rollins isn't a man deserving of this opportunity being the Universal Champion. And I happen to disagree with him and the people on Twitter. Mainly for the fact that you got to see that, look at people like Jon Moxley leaving the company, and look how much of a big splash he is since leaving WWE. Look at Dustin Rhodes. left, had a great match with his brother, and created another crack in the wall. All these people doing it because they're not micromanaged. My thing is, I would like to see if you let off a little bit, just, if you're holding on to the leash, let it go a little bit. Give Rollins a chance to get himself over. I'm sure if you allow the man a little bit more creative freedom, you would see a different side of Seth Rollins that will probably get himself more over. And in fact, I think you would see they'd be more credible champion. So people just got to lay off and realize that he is a great talent in the ring. He had incredible matches last year with not only Dolph Ziggler, but also Drew McIntyre in the summer. Then he had a couple good matches in the fall. I wouldn't say the matches with Dean Ambrose were the greatest because they were what they were. And knowing what we know now, Moxley, I would say, or Dean Ambrose wasn't all the way there. So you can't, they were okay matches. But the thing I want to say is that we know what Seth Rollins is capable of doing. And then we did see a good match at Super Showdown between him and Baron Corbin. So my thing to you, people have to lay off and you got to let it play out. Because Seth Rollins is a great champion. He's a fighting champion. And that's exactly what you want. Yes, it's not like Ric Flair going around across the globe defending the title, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. Fighting champion. That's what you're supposed to be when you're a champion. Not defending the title every 3-4 months like another guy. Defending it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, doesn't matter. As long as you're not doing it every 3 to 4 months like someone else, then you're fine. Hold on a second. And we got a visitor. Yes. All right, we'll go outside. Hold on. Sorry about that. So overall, I would like to see where they go with that. So here we go. Number 3. Let's go with number three. Like I said, it wasn't much to talk about the Seth Rollins wins. It was a decent match, but I had my little thing about that. Let's go into the next one, and that was Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss going up against Becky and Bayley. I'll tell you right now, the women's tag match was an incredible match where you have the 2 champions going against the 2 challengers at the upcoming pay-per-view Stomping Grounds. Becky, like I said, Becky and Bayley faced off against Alexa and Lacey Evans. The resilient babyfaces refused to stay down in this match. However, after Evans threw Cross into Lynch, the sassy Southern Belle hit the women's right on the man. She connected with one on Bayley to set up the Twisted Bliss. The hugger got on her knees to block the goddess, but she was not ready for the lady, who hit a third women's right to take the win for the heels. And I'll tell you right now, it was a great match across the board on all 4 competitors. And I'll tell you why. Lacey Evans, since coming to the main roster, a lot of people were skeptical because of what she was doing. Just coming down the ramp and, doing a little pageantry and going right back up the ramp. But now, the moment she connected with Becky Lynch, I've loved everything she's done as far as promo, as far as what she's done in the ring. I love the freaking moonsault, very reminiscent of Kurt Angle. The one thing I don't like is that they made her tap to Becky so quick. And I understand you don't want Becky to drop the title, and I get that, okay? But there could have been something, and I know Lacey Evans is the heel, and heel can lose no matter what, as long as they get heat at the end. But Lacey Evans shouldn't have tapped out the Becky. That's my one thing. One thing I didn't like about that. The one thing I did enjoy about this match is how the heels got the win. It was a heat. They got heat. Of course, anytime heels have to cheat to win, I love that because it is what they do. You got your faces, you got your heels, and the heels did what they did to get the victory. And it's so good to see Alexa Bliss back in the running again. back, competing again. Because we all know what she is, how good she is on the mic, how she does the moment of bliss. She's been doing a great job with that. And as far as psychology and promo work, she's got that down. Good to see her back in the ring. And she did an incredible job in the ring Monday night. Becky and Bayley, they did a good job as well. I enjoyed what they did. Of course, we're going to see what Bayley does the very next night on SmackDown, but I'll tell you now, this was a very, very entertaining women's tag team match. I hope everyone, if you didn't see it, make sure you check it out Monday night, okay? Because it was a great, great match. It's things like this. Because you could be mad about the product and be mad about creative. It's things like this that make you go fall in love with it again. And I love when heels get over the way they do. And especially if you don't win. You beat the hell out of the faces. That's what you do. You lose, you get the heat. But this time, the heels got over. Gained the sympathy from the fans going, oh crap, our two favorite champions did not get the victory. They may get revenge at Stomping Grounds though. Hold on, I got my kid yelling in the background. I apologize. I'm sorry about that. All right, I'm back. I apologize for that. Anyways, so yeah, I enjoyed this match. It was a very good match. I don't think in any way whatsoever that Lacey should be the champion right now. Yo, what's up, young boy? Especially, also, I don't think Bayley should drop her title. But you know what? This is going to be a great summer programs. This is a great tag match. I'm excited for where they go further throughout the summer with these four ladies. But they almost stole the show. But there was two more things on the show that were actually better than this great tag match. And here's my number 2.
Number 2.
The Firefly Funhouse. Everyone's been a big fan of this whole segment for the last, 5 to 6 weeks. Really displaying what Bray Wyatt could do. And people have been wondering where he's been. Because he did take time off, and then Matt Hardy went and did his thing. And but we didn't know where Bray Wyatt's been. And man, these segments have been getting better and better, despite the one last week where he was doing the physical things, exercising. That was a little odd to me. But everything else has been great. I've been enjoying this. It's showing a different side of Bray Wyatt. He's reinventing himself. They're doing a great job with it. And then this one really took a turn. I wish I was fucking recording this. I don't know if I was recording the moment when I saw that segment. Because I did do a watch along yesterday, but I remember there was a brief period where there was an issue. But nonetheless, Bray Wyatt with the Family Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt wanted to have fun on the Firefly Funhouse, but Mercy, the Buzzard, and Ramblin' Rabbit got into an argument. Wyatt threatened to bring out the Fiend, which calmed them down. Jeez, wasn't that the clown, the scary mask that he pretty much, told his secret to everyone, which was an awesome segment. Of course, the rabbit was then allowed to speak his mind. However, as he threatened to expose the secrets of the Funhouse, Wyatt stopped him. Then he smashed his friend with a hammer and offered a brand new spread for fans to buy, made from Ramblin' Rabbit. That took a weird freaking turn from me. I'll tell you right now, from the segments that I've seen so far, you can tell he's a schizophrenic psychopath. He's trying to show people that, he's good. And, he's changed his ways. He's not as dark. But no, he may try to hide it, but at the end of the day, he is probably just as fucked up as he was, if not even worse. Yeah, But I'm loving this. It's a new reinvention. I just can't wait to see where he goes from there, because you saw his secret where he dressed up as the clown. I want to see how they go from there. Because we've seen the look he was before, where he looked like, Max K, the butcher look, and if you're a fan, you know what I'm talking about. The look that he had before. And again, it's people like him. When a character kind of ran its course, you got to reinvent yourself. And the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho, is the prime example of a man that could reinvent himself. And I'm glad that we're seeing a reinvention of this man, because the guy is a great talent in the ring, great talent on the mic, great talent with the psychology, and that's something you don't see a lot today, especially in the WWE. Now, here's one thing that came out of this, was the conspiracy theory about this segment. And this was courtesy of Wrestle Talk, so I'm going to read and I'll give you my brief opinion about this. The conspiracy theory. Latest Firefly Funhouse was a shot at Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. Now, here it is right here. Ready? The Firefly Funhouse segments airing since WrestleMania 35 has been among some of the best vignettes WWE has produced in recent years. Definitely. I think someone, from the past has something to do with that. The ideas are said to have all come from Bray himself, with the director of the segments comparing Bray's creative mind to that of Hollywood megastars Will Smith and Tom Cruise. And you know what? The director that was on Busted Open did say that a lot of the ideas are from Bray, coming from his mind. Last week's segment saw Wyatt encourage Huskus the Pig to get into shape, possibly call back to his larger days as Husky Harris. However, the latest installment could actually have been a shot at two of WWE's former performers. In this segment, Ramblin' Rabbit said that he wanted to expose some of what's really been going on here in the Funhouse, which could possibly be a jab at Jon Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose, going on to Chris Jericho's Talk is Jericho podcast to expose what working for WWE is really like. Wyatt then turned on him and now had red lines above and below his eyes. This style of makeup is awfully similar to the black lines Chris Jericho has on his face while wrestling in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then they go further to say at the start of the video, Wyatt has been seen hanging up a sign on the door to the Funhouse which read, "Abandon all hope who exit here." Possibly WWE's way of saying anyone who decides to quit the company has no hope of succeeding elsewhere. Wyatt also greeted the camera by saying "Konnichiwa," which could possibly be deemed as a jab at Moxley performing in New Japan last week. There has been no official word on whether this was a plan from WWE or Bray Wyatt, and the vignettes were likely filmed before Moxley's podcast with Jericho, but it does seem like a lot of the things in the vignette were subtle digs at the pair. That's why they're called conspiracy theories. Yes, the face paint did kind of look like Jericho's, but it wasn't always there. It was pretty much close to the character of the mask. Not a scary version of the mask that he wore when he revealed his secret. Konnichiwa, yes, I can see why people are thinking, oh, he's taking jabs. Even if he was, if he wasn't. So what? Let it be. If that was Bray's way of saying, taking jabs at the two guys that left, let it be. All right. I'll tell you right now, AEW will be responding pretty good with that too. But as far as this whole conspiracy theory, I think people look too much into things. And it's this war, ever since AEW was formed back in January, the fans of both promotions had been going back and forth at each other. And it's never going to end. They're just going to say, oh, look, they're taking jabs at this, and look at AEW guys taking jabs at them. It's going to happen. Some people that left the company are frustrated from what happened. Jon Moxley pretty much explained on Talk is Jericho how exhausting it was to work for them. Hey, the guy can have his opinion. But even if they were to take jabs, but I can tell you right now, the director on Busted Open said these things were filmed a while ago. So if you're gonna go with that, I don't think they're that for that. I don't think they're like Nostradamus and fucking predicting months ahead. Did they know Moxley was going to New Japan? No, they had no one had a clue of where he was going. A lot of people speculated AEW, which eventually did happen, but it wasn't set in stone. Get Him Jones in chat said, nothing wrong with a few jabs and some healthy competition. Exactly, that's the best part about it. When Vince is against the wall, like it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was one thing that was good about the product, okay? Because Vince was pushed, he had changed it. He threw everything he did in the mid-90s out and bring in this new era, the Attitude Era, and it created great content, and up to the point where they bought out WCW, and then eventually, because they had no competition, yeah, their product got pretty stale for a while. And it's going to get better again. No one's going to take WWE from the top spot. No one's going to knock them from the top of the mountain. But they are going to make them better. But this whole conspiracy theory, people are just looking too far into it. This shit was filmed a while before Moxley even left. Moxley was still in the company when this was filmed. So, unless if they did a reshoot and, got this in there, overall, I enjoyed it because it showed the darker side of Bray Wyatt's character. And you've seen the continual transformation of this new character. And the moment I'm wondering is, who would be the first opponent and when would it be? Sound off on the comments in the YouTube. People, if you are watching right now, or even listen to the podcast later, got at Go Home Wrestling at Twitter. When and who should be the first opponent for this man when he comes back? There we go. All right, that was our number 2. Let's go to number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1 is a thing I love a lot, and that is tag team wrestling. And my number 1 this week is the triple threat tag team match between the Usos, Hawkins and Ryder, and the Revival. Fuck the Revival. I'll tell you, it was a great match. Strong tag team match. And of course, it ended with Jey Uso looked as posed to take this for his team with a series of super kicks. However, after getting a splash, Dawson snuck in, stole the win as Wilder held Jey back from breaking the pinfall. The way they won that match was just how a heel would win. And I loved the match altogether. It was like, and you know what, Hawkins and Ryder, it's a sin that their title reign was not that great. They didn't get to defend it, but in my opinion, the titles went to the rightful guys. The Revival is a great, and just an incredible tag team. We can't debate that. Usos are great too. Usos are probably the top guys, but if there's someone that's right next to them, right below them, pretty close to the ability of the Usos, it is the Revival. I would argue all day, all night. Okay? It was a great match. I'm glad they got it. My only thing is, how long will they have the titles? Of course, sound off at Go Home Wrestling on Twitter. I would like to get your opinion on that in the comments on YouTube. I want people to answer that. Like, how long do you think they're going to hold it this time? Would it be a legitimate tag title reign? I hope so, because one thing's for sure is that people got to understand that the tag team division, they have a strong tag team division. They got great tag teams. It's just how they present it is what annoys the hell out of me. And I've always been a fan of tag team wrestling. I have always said one of my favorite tag team matches was the Hart Foundation and Demolition at SummerSlam 1990. 2 out of 3 falls. It was also the fact that I was there and saw that live, but nonetheless, a lot of people said that was an incredible tag team match. The psychology, everything was there. This match was really good in and of itself. This was the match of the night, stole the show, and the rightful guys came out on top. I just hope these guys continue to be successful, and I hope the WWE finally freaking wakes up and puts more effort into the tag team division. Because tag team wrestling, I'll tell you, it is popular today more than ever. I mean, you got great tag teams like the Lucha Brothers, the Young Bucks, and many others throughout the various promotions around the world. You were seeing tag team wrestling main event shows. I just hope what Daniel Bryan and Rowan are doing when they talk about they're going to make it, they want to main event a show. I hope that's like the focus eventually to allowing that to happen, because they have the talent that they could pull off the Revival and the Usos in that main event match. I just hope they could do that. I really do hope they will do that one day. And congratulations to the Revival, their second reign as Raw Tag Team Champions, and I hope it's longer than it was the first time. And that was my number one. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the SmackDown Top 5. And here we go. Here's number 5. We're going to keep up with the theme of the tag team division with another match with the new YOLO Tag Champions, Tucker and Otis, Heavy Machinery. Of course, the segment started off with Daniel Bryan and Rowan hitting the ring for a promo with the former champion revealing the WWE Universe was in for a treat. It was about to witness the Planet's champion in action against their YOLO County Tag Team Champions. The two enhancement talents, former Tough Enough competitors AJ Kirsch and Dave Dutra, had cardboard titles draped over their shoulders. And like I said this morning when I was doing the watch along, it was like when my uncle drew titles for us when we did our little backyard wrestling. That's what the first thing that popped in my head when I saw them. Before the match could begin, Heavy Machinery interrupted. Otis and Tucker again claimed that Bryan and Rowan were ducking them. A back and forth gave way to Heavy Machinery stepping into the match instead of the champions. The team bowled over the competition. Otis delivered the popular Caterpillar elbow drop, and the massive base of babyfaces scored the win in an impressive fashion. There are a few things I liked about this. One, I love the enhancement talent matches, and what I mean by that, one thing that's been a lost art, and we're starting to see it more and more. You saw with the Iconics Monday night, which I didn't mention, but I mean, they had a good enhancement match. But this one was better. I'm loving the fact that they're taking enhancement talent to showcase the talent on the roster. In this case, two guys that came up from NXT and haven't done really anything since. And here they are doing, matches that really showcase their talents. And I've always been a fan of enhancement talent matches. I grew up in an era in the late 80s and early 90s watching superstars at Saturday mornings, seeing Ultimate Warrior going up against Doug Johnson out of Phoenix, Arizona, or name any other enhancement talent, and some which later became superstars like Jeff Hardy when he faced against Rob Van Dam in 1997. Mick Foley in 1987 was a jobber for a little bit before going overseas. Overall, I've always liked it because it showcases what the talent can do, and I've always been a fan of that. Not only that, if you were to see them two go up against Rowan and Daniel Bryan, and them, I mean Heavy Machinery, pronouns, pal. If they were to, go up against them, then it takes away from a matchup they were to go against each other at the pay-per-view. I wish they'd do more of these things. And maybe, do your little mid-card matches, but as far as these guys and the bigger talents, have them go up against enhancement talent. It's a lost start, and I wish they would continue to do this. I love it. I had nothing wrong to say about this. It was a great display of what they could do. And you never know. You can find a diamond in the rough then. That, like you said, with a Jeff Hardy and Mick Foley and plenty of others along the way that started off as enhancement talent for the WWF or WWE. Here they are. AJ Styles, let me throw that in there. Velocity. Not 2002. He was an enhancement talent. All these guys in the past eventually made their way through. because they got recognized. They got recognized for their talents, and WWE took a chance at them. I hope they continue to do this. And like I said, I did mention that they're finally displaying their NXT talent, and this is one of them. I wish they would do it with others, like they did with Nikki Cross too, which we'll talk about later. I'm enjoying this, that they're displaying the NXT talent, and I'm enjoying that they're doing these enhancement matches, and I hope they continue with that. And again, like I just said a moment ago, I'm hopeful of them finally focusing on the tag team division. And one thing I would say, if someone has more say than others, Daniel Bryan is one of those guys that really does have a voice. And if he really feels that, I hope he's genuine with this. And I want to see a tag team match main event, any pay-per-view. If it's WrestleMania, holy shit, would that be a big thing. But small steps, baby steps, just like the Women's Revolution. You got two revolutions right now. You got the Women's Revolution and the Tag Team Revolution. We got to make tag team wrestling important again. And this segment, they did a great job. So that's my number 5.
Number 4.
Number 4, going from a tag team match to a women's match between Sonya Deville and Carmella. Carmella's issues with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose continued this week as she battled Deville in the singles bout. At one point, the former SmackDown Women's Champion rolled, even applying the code of silence. Rose appeared, though, putting her partner's foot on the bottom rope and necessitating the break. Frustrated by the Golden Goddess' continued interference in the bout, Carmella delivered a suicide dive that wiped out both out on the floor, which was an incredible move. Carmella negated Rose's interference with a super kick on the floor, but Deville caught her with a leaping knee to the face as she entered the squared circle and scored the pinfall. And there you had it. Sonya Deville got the victory. Now, the thing I liked about this match is that you're finally seeing what Sonya Deville can do. And she's a great talent. And like I said in the watch along this morning, is that she's not too far from where I grew up. So, she's from New Jersey, but that has nothing to do with it, how I feel. Overall, it's good to see that, Mandy Rose had a moment, Sonya Deville has hers, and you need more competitors in the women's division, especially on the SmackDown side. Because with this match with Bayley, the defender title at Stomping Grounds, they had to bring over a Raw talent to be her competitor. Now you have the chance to display what Sonya Deville can do, and maybe you might get a match between her and Bayley in the future. I'll tell you, Sonya Deville really showed what she can do. Carmella, nothing bad I can say about her. She's been doing great in the last year. We were talking about that not too long ago. But overall, I mean, a lot of people were well receptive, but I saw the Diamonds in the Rough, and the Diamond in the Rough was Sonya Deville, rising star. Sonya Deville, eventually competing for the title. I could see she should be a strong contender in the women's division. And unlike her, her partner that's had chances, I think in the future might have a better chance of winning the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Now, let me look at chat. Get 'em Jones says, to me, Sonya is probably the most underrated and underused female on the roster. Absolutely agree with you on that one. Because, again, I know what they were trying to do. They were going to focus with them as a tag team. And my question for the people in chat and the people on YouTube and the people that listen to the podcast later, so you can either leave a comment on YouTube, hit me up at Go Home Wrestling on Twitter. My question for the people here is, do you see that, what would you think that you're going to see first? Them becoming tag champions, or either Sonya Deville or Mandy Rose becoming a women's champion? I don't know at this point. Because I was thinking more tag team, but the way Sonya Deville looked strong in that match with Carmella, I think we might see a big push for her as a singles competitor. We've seen it with Mandy Rose, and she did a decent job. I feel that Sonya Deville will probably make a bigger splash as a singles competitor, but overall, did a great job. Hold on. Sorry about that. My kid's trying to get me to go out again. So I'm sorry about that if you listen to this on a podcast later. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I like the match. And I like that they're putting Sonya in the spotlight. I love the Heat victory. I mean, again, one thing you never want to see is a heel get a clean victory. When you get victories like this, it gains sympathy for the face, heat for the heel. I love that. That's old school wrestling at its finest. And I'm glad to see Sonya Deville actually being used. And I can't wait to see it because you need to develop more women's competitors for the SmackDown Live Women's title and not bring over Raw women's talent over because they have lack of competitors. Sorry about that. I don't know because the way they're treating the women's titles, it's so confusing to me. I know. That's why I think we're going to see a singles push from Sonya Deville more before a tag team run between the two. So, overall, great match. Can't wait to see what they do with Sonya Deville next. That was number 4. Let's go to
Number 3.
Number 3. And that is the Aleister Black promo. And before I go on with that, another response from Gentleman Jones in the chat said, they took the titles off 2 women who wanted to do so much with the titles and put them on a team that hasn't done anything with them. I agree with that, but the one thing I would respond to that is that I like what they did with the enhancement talent field, and that really showcased their talents. And like I said, I just went off about enhancement talent matches as opposed to having them going up against competitors and losing. This was a great way to showcase the talents as opposed to them going up against Becky and or anyone, Charlotte, or any tag team, and then losing. That doesn't help them. Them getting over in enhancement talent matches really showcases their talents and showcases, their abilities and what they could do overall. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. All right, number 3 on the list, Aleister Black cutting a promo, and I have a couple quick things to say, and then I have a question for you fans. Aleister added to his weeks of cryptic promos with one hell of a lot less subtle than the others. At one point in his musings, he turned and asked a backstage staffer to open the door. Turning from quiet to rage-fueled quickly, he screamed, begging anyone in the back to walk through the door and accept his invitation for a fight. It was simple, straight to the point. I enjoyed it, and I do apologize for my kids screaming in the background. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, I love the promo because we know what he did with Ricochet. And Ricochet and Aleister, what they were able to do in that short period of time when they first came up was awesome. Now, here he is as a singles guy. And one thing you got to do is that you got to have that first big opponent to really make a splash as that singles guy in the main roster. I do like these promos, and I like that little, I'm going to challenge. Come on, someone challenge me. I wonder who that is. When should Aleister Black get in the ring for the first time? And who would it be with? I have one, and again, spout off in the comments on YouTube and at Go Home Wrestling on Twitter. My question for you, when should be his first match? And which opponent should it be? I'll tell you right now, it should be SummerSlam, because we're coming up on it 2 months away. One of the biggest shows of the summer, one of the main 4 of the year. That's his first match. But I got 3 good opponents. Now, one most likely won't happen because of what happened this past Friday. I'm sure the next time he's in that ring, it's against the same competitor, but I'm going to throw it out there just in case. First one being Bray Wyatt. How can you not go with someone just as dark as Aleister Black? Just as loco, okay? It would be a great counterbalance to Aleister Black. And they would be able to put on a clinic, and it would be a great way for both people to come out, one as a reinvented character, one coming up in the main roster as a singles guy.
Hey, watch.
Sorry about that. My kid is giving me a problem. Oh, I'm sorry. So, Bray Wyatt, that's my first choice. Second choice, Undertaker. Again, two dark guys. No better way than a guy. But a lot of people say that's more of a WrestleMania main event than that. Than a SummerSlam match. Third one, Randy Orton. I could definitely see that. The veteran, the rookie, and no one better than put some, be put in the program with than the guy that is a legend there. He's a legend in the business. Easy Hall of Famer. And for what I saw in that video where he hit the Black Mass on Randy Orton, a lot of people were commenting how good that match was. I would love to see that. Kevin Jones says his first rivalry should be against Almas after Almas got the IC title. Gets the IC title from Finn. That could be a good one. Because of the personal angle. That's a good one. I didn't think about that one. Alright, sorry about that. Jeez, my kid won't stop. Been out all day. I'm not gonna be able to put this on podcast either because this one doesn't want to stop. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to end this because my kid won't stop. I'll continue this later. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys.